Today is October 1st, 2023. It's rainy outside and I'm still 54 years old. And it's cloudy outside and so now I have to stay on track. I have to stay on track because I have to stay on track. Okay? I have to stay on track and keep at it because I am not useful to society where I am in this situation. I am not useful to my kids. I am not useful to my ex-wife. In order for me to be, my whole objective is to lift myself up so that I will be useful to my kids and I will be useful to my ex-wife. That is the last remaining thing I have for the rest of my life. The 54 years of life that I have essentially have served me very well. It's currently 49 degrees and it's raining. So in order for me to make that possible, I have to study, and I have to make this day trading thing work. I have to make it work. And however long it takes, I have to make it work. And how does that thing work? I have to really dig now. I have to really dig into how something is done in order to make it profitable. How do I do that? So the only way that I can relate is essentially just going at it and figuring something out. It's like going to it's essentially looking at a pile of things and pick out that needle in a haystack. Pick that needle in a haystack, and then once I figure out where the needle in a haystack is, then everything will start to click. So what have I done in the past that gives me clues to how to solve this thing called day trading? How do I do that? What mechanism is there that allows me to solve it, find it, and resolve it? How do I do that? How do I piece together something that is so complex and make it work? How do I do that? How do I figure this out? What are the missing pieces that I need to fit into in order for me to figure this thing out called day trading? So in my thinking is that once I figure out where the strand of, in physics, people are studying called string theory. It's a string theory. The way that I see it, it's obviously way beyond my understanding. There is a string, and that string starts somewhere, okay? And it is also the ending. If I were to come from the other side to that string has a beginning. So I need to tap into that beginning of it to solve it. And so critically thinking about what makes up a trade. What makes up a trade? What is a successful trade? The outcome is going to be based on the statistical probability. The outcome is based on the statistical probability of a trade. So let's look at this. Let's go into a very simple, the most simplest The simplest possible scenario that I can think about. Okay, let's go through it. Okay, I see something. Okay, I see something, and then I enter, and the results will be positive or negative, and it's going to reach a threshold where I will sell. It's either for a profit or for a loss. That's what's going to happen. Okay, and then I exit the trade. That's it. That's a round trip from beginning to the end. But what I'm hoping to do is based on that round trip, if I were to repeat it over and over again, I'm going to be profitable. Okay, I got to clean the lens a little bit, okay? So the idea is to figure out how I can be profitable by making that trade. So there are sequences of things that occurs by itself. By itself, the stop loss is also a very significant topic. By itself, the limit order is also a significant topic. It's not an easy thing to understand. These are the things that are complex subject matters. In order to be consistent and optimize the trading that I have. So the other factor is when I enter a trade, I enter based on a specific underlying information that allows me to enter. And S&P Capital keeps talking about this catalyst. There seems to be a catalyst that they use in order to maximize their gain. That's what they're doing. They're using a catalyst to maximize their gain. So if I'm just trading regular stocks based on setups, then really so I'm primarily trading they're looking for big movements, I think. What they're doing is they're looking for big movements, a prolonged movement that they can take, they can hide their trades so that they could make a serious amount of money based on their trades. So that's what they're doing. So for me, I have to get to a stage where I know that my setup is right. I have to know, I have to put it on it has to be a concrete understanding of how trading works. The result is, when the conclusive result is displayed, then I know that what I'm doing is correct. For now, I'm just thinking out. I'm just a little bit blurry still, trying to understand how trading works, and so I'm talking it out. I need to talk this out. I need to resolve it. I need to reinforce what I learned, what I have to do. That's so that I can fill in the pieces that allows me to solve it. So the first step is like the setup, then stop and loss. Those are the three things that I need to focus on. Three things. Like on a Friday, on a personal account, my meta trading account was, I bought a put on it, and if I kept it all the way through to the end of the day, I would have made a significant amount of money. Approximately about 4 figures if I did that, okay? But I took a small gain out of it and I exited because I was fearful, because I wasn't sure. I was not conclusive. I was not aware of what the possibilities are. The reasoning that I got in was I looked at it. It looked like there was a second top, and usually that indicates with a sharp up that it was going to dip, and sure enough it did. And I put a stop loss on there, okay? And I thought maybe stop loss will be triggered again, but that's the way the trade worked out. And had I rode it all the way through, it would have been a very, very good trade. I took a minimal amount of gain, so that's how it works. So thinking in terms of that perspective. So if I So if there is a professional day trader who talks about the specifics in the way that they trade, is they specifically identify a specific entry point. And when a specific entry point occurs, a stop loss is placed and a limit order is placed to cover both bases. Now, my issue at this point is understanding what entry point there is. And so I have to categorize these entry points. What are these entry points? So when I look at an entry point, certain candles are a better entry point than other entry points. So this is something that I was not aware of, and now I'm expounding upon it, is this. When a stock like Tesla or Meta moves, a single candle can have a significant up or down movement that will impact the stop loss because it moves so much. It moves so that if I set a stop loss, it's just going to take it out. Okay? It's got to be sufficiently large enough to ride the... So I have to identify... So I have to identify the curvature, the signature of the trend based on its region of significant respect. When I do that, then I can parlay in the significance of the ATRs within that that's short duration of time when I get in. So if a stock moves within 2 to 3 minutes, 50 cents, it's very, very different because it's within the noise level. When it's in the noise level, when I put a stop loss, it could trigger the stop loss and I'll be out of the trade just being in the noise. The noise can cause my trade to be exited prematurely. So I need to understand a thing called noise envelope. Noise envelope. Okay, there's a noise envelope that I need to be aware of that keeps the stock fluctuating. There's an ATR range within that region that creates a significant component of complexity in my trading. And that's why when I got in my FTMO trading account, the trading account would be just like 12 consecutive losses. It's something that could have been a far better, had I chosen a less volatile stock, that would have been a different result. So now what I also have noticed is that stocks move towards a resistance, move towards a support, and essentially those are the two primary means of. So there's like a 2 and a 2, which is support and resistance. There's also a two-factor, which is trending and reversion, right? So what happens is that the stocks go on a ping pong. It's a ping pong. So trading is like a ping pong table. It's a ping pong table, really. You know that in the olden days when video games were placed into like pizza parlors and things like that, what they had was this ping pong machine, right? On one side, paddle on the other, paddle on the other side, and one paddle would be doing the ball would bounce from one side to the other side and down to the other side. Essentially, that's what it is. But that's a rigid surface. So one side, if I flip it around, it would be support, and on one side would be resistance. That's what it is. It's a Pong. It's a game of Pong. The stock market is essentially a game of Pong. Pong. Okay? And that Pong, based on its pixel size, there's a noise that's involved during the transition and while it's moving, dithering to one side to the other side. So day trading is a Pong, game of Pong. It's ping-ponging based on support and resistance. So now I've clearly identified the specific specific and concrete understanding of what a game of day trading is. Essentially, it's a game of Pong. And the critical and the most important part is critical component is identifying the support and resistance region of the trade.